somewhat interesting. So, with that being said, let's jump into the video. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 confessions for you guys today. Most of them are very short, and the only long one is all the way at the end. So, if you hate it, you can just click off. Alright, let's start with this first one. My sister is a thief, and the elderly neighbors and soccer moms are going insane. Okay, I can't keep this to myself anymore. My sister has been living a secret double life as the neighborhood prank queen. It started a few months ago when lawn ornaments all over town began mysteriously disappearing. Flamingos, gnomes, one truly hideous frog with a monocle. People were baffled. There were even posts on the town Facebook group about the yard bandit. I didn't think much of it until I found a pink flamingo sticking out of the trunk of my sister's car. She claimed she was rescuing it from a bad decor. But then I opened the garage and nearly fainted. Dozens of flamingos, garden gnomes, and one concrete goose were lined up like they were in a bizarre adoption center. She'd even given them names: Florence, Gerald, Sir Honks-a-Lot. Turns out she's been stealthily borrowing lawn ornaments at night, repainting or bedazzling them, and then secretly returning them upgraded. Her theory is that people deserve surprise joy, even if it comes in the form of a glitter-covered flamingo. That's kind of funny. At least she's like giving them back, slightly upgraded, right? I mean, nobody asked for that, but that's kind of funny and wholesome, I think. Let's read some comments. First comment says maybe she should just do it one at a time. A felony charges $1,000 in goods and TN. I don't know what TN means. It reminds me of Emile, one of my favorite movies that, spoiler, involves a stolen garden gnome and travels the world and sends postcards. Oh, the garden gnome travels the world. I've never watched Emile. Let me see other comments. Why are so many still in her garage if she's returning them? Isn't she concerned about being caught on someone's doorbell cam? It doesn't seem funny to me. Somebody said this is a fake story. It's probably a fake story. Still funny though. Opie is saying it's not. It's not fake. Somebody said thanks, ChatGPT. Whatever, if it's fake, so what? It was funny. Alright, next story. I found a stash of letters at my father's, and now I don't know if I should tell my mother. Recently, my brother and I were helping my parents renovate the garage. I was clearing out some old boxes and stumbled upon a metal box under some tools. Inside were letters and a few old photographs. I opened one letter and realized it was addressed to my father from some woman. It contained phrases like, "It's a shame we can't be together," and "I'm glad I can see you at least once a month." At first, I thought it was an old story from before they got married, but in the photographs, he looked almost the same as he does now. The letters were dated just a few years ago. I don't know if it's still going on or if it's over, but now every time I see my parents together, I'm seething inside. My mother adores him, always protecting and supporting him. I'm afraid that if I tell him, I'll destroy the family, but if I keep quiet, I'll carry this secret with me. I feel like a traitor, even though I've done nothing. I somebody said leave the box where your mom will find it. Don't torture yourself. The relationship is your mom and dad's to work out. Yeah. I honestly would just confront the dad and be like, listen, you have to fix this. If you don't tell your mom or help her find the box, you can never look straight into her eyes again. If she finds out you knew all along, she'll be doubly hurt. My mom was cheated on for 7 years and found out that others knew for a long time. She was extra hurt/humiliated. Don't hurt your mom more. Oh, that's sad. Don't put that on them. I feel like they know that. You don't have to say it. Getting cheated on is terrible, though. Imagine if that was, I'm telling you, if those were my parents, I would have just went to my dad and been like, dude, you gotta fix it. I don't know what to tell you. Or if you don't fix it, I'm telling. I'm so sorry, my neighbors are stomping around. It's literally like 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know why they're awake. Alright, next story. I lied about making food for a friend of mine. I repacked ready-made meals and said I made it. So, a male friend of mine who really likes me has been sick lately, and I've been pretending to make food, but it's really ready-made food that I've just repackaged them in freezer containers. So today, as I was putting the food into the freezer, I noticed it was the exact same meals I had bought and repackaged. Now I feel like he's gonna know that I've just been repackaging all of the meals as it was the exact same ones I had bought today. Now, I'm not sure what to do. Should I let him know? This is so dumb. This is so dumb. If you're getting, first of all, why? Why are you doing this? Isn't it like already good enough that you're bringing this person food and he already likes you? There's no reason for you to lie like this. And also, if you were gonna lie, at least get something that's not like he can get it at the grocery store too, you know, like get something that's like a little bit, like if you were getting like Factor meals and then putting them into a Tupperware, that would be a different thing. But if you're just getting like Marie calendars and putting it, like, please be so for real. Okay, let me read the comments. Yes, the first comment said, why are you trying to impress him? Are you sure it's not you who really likes him? And OP is like, no, I'm not sure why I did that. I guess I felt bad. I bought him ready-made food. Girl, what? Make it make sense. Honestly, what matters most is that you cared enough to make sure he was fed while he was sick. That's the real act of love. If you tell him, he might even laugh and appreciate your effort more. Not everyone has the time or energy to cook from scratch, but showing up for someone is what really counts. And Opie responded and said, I really do care about him. He doesn't seem to have friends and is sort of stuck in his apartment. He has Parkinson's, and I always encourage him to go for a walk to see his parents. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. She should just tell him that she is making, like, it's not that big a deal. Just tell him. That's really funny, though. Alright, next story. I took what we needed, and I don't regret it at all. When I was young, my mother, older brother, and myself were very, very poor. With no dad ever in the picture, my mom had few a-hole boyfriends that weren't worth a crap. I remember one had his own business but never contributed to our household, but would stay there more often than not. One night, he left his car open, and I just so happened to open the door and looked in his glove compartment. There was an envelope stuffed with about $100 bills, so I took 3 of them. The next day, 12-year-old me was grocery shopping with my mom. We were only going to get the bare minimum with a few food stamps she had, as usual. I gave her those 3 $100 bills and said, get what you need, Mom. If anyone asks, you just found them rolled up on the floor right now. He never found out, and that became a weekly thing. The envelope wasn't always there, and his car wasn't always open, but I started to sneak into my mom's room late at night to either get his keys or go through his wallet. Mom is now 85 and she doesn't remember any of it, but I do. No regrets. That's awesome. Power to her. As a 12-year-old. That's dope. They did what they had to do. was probably eating their food in their house and not helping, so good for them. Comments. Yeah, you did what you had to do, sir. You did what you had to do to survive and take care of your mom. No shame in that. Yeah. Opie really did what they had to do. Shelby's right. There's no shame in making sure your mom ate when the so-called man of the house couldn't even be bothered to help. If anything, Opie showed me more responsibility at 12 than that guy ever did. Survival and love for your mom outweighs in my rule book. Yeah, period. Because nobody wants to starve. He was using your mom and you made him pay for it, which he deserved. Yep. Okay, let's read this last comment for this post. Wow, this is wild, but also kind of heartbreaking. On one hand, you were just a kid doing what you had to do to help your mom survive, and that shows a lot of courage and love. On the other hand, it's crazy to think a 12-year-old was making these morally complicated decisions on their own. Honestly, I think most people would understand your actions in context. You were protecting your family, and it wasn't about greed. I hope your mom knows how much you cared for her all these years. Yeah. Sad story, but good for her. She did what she needed to do. Alright, next story. A lot of people stopped going to my church because of me within the span of a month. I was excited to read this one because what? What did you do? Also, it starts with when I was 8. What could this 8-year-old have possibly done? Okay. When I was 8, I would go to church with my aunt and uncle. In the church, close to the entrance, they had a closet that I would play hide and seek with, along with my friends I made there. I used to hide in the closet because, me being small, I could blend in between the jackets. So I had a funny idea one night to go into people's coat pockets and take whatever they had and put it in other people's pockets. I did this maybe 4 times and eventually stopped because I almost got my uncle in trouble for taking someone's car keys and putting it in his coat, not knowing it was his. All I'm gonna say is a lot of people stopped showing up after those 4 times. That's a terrible prank. That's an awful prank, especially because he's not like, how do they know that it's in someone else's pockets? Or like, I hope that these people ended up finding their stuff, you know what I mean? Let's read some comments. Wow, you are one naughty kid. You basically invented pocket musical chairs, but with felony charges on the line. Oh my goodness. This is so sinister. Only a child could think of it. At least he had a positive outcome. I had never heard of a coat closet for a church. Seems like a recipe for something like this to happen. What do you mean? There's coat closets. Yeah, that was a funny one. Alright, this last one. This last one looks like it has a little bit of a trigger warning for like underage nudity, I would say. The title is I shared inappropriate content when I was a minor of myself, and it haunts me to this day. I don't really even know how to start this, but here goes. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. When I was 16, I got on the app Yubo. If you don't know what that is, it's basically Tinder for teens. Gross, I know. But it was quarantine, and I was going through a mental health crisis and desperate for interaction with others. Anyway, most of my interactions on there were mostly harmless, cringy teen flirting. Nothing really got past the app, but some went over to Snapchat. Anyway, as I said, I was going through a mental health crisis and was in a sort of manic state at the time. The details of what I remember are extremely fuzzy, but I remember matching with this one guy. I think he was 17 and I was 16, and essentially leading him on, love bombing him, role playing with him, and all this BS. Anyway, we went off the app and I gave him my Snapchat. Now, up until this point, there had been no nudes sent on my end to anyone, ever. But for some reason, in the state I was in, I started to have video chat / Snapchat relations with him. Now, I never showed my face when I showed the private areas of me. Somehow was conscious enough to know not to do that, but filmed and chatted using the downward angle of me pleasuring myself, playing with my stuff, etc. I even feel gross typing it out. We sent pics, videos, and video chatting, doing all of this. He sent some videos of him doing stuff as well and would participate in these activities on video chat as well. Everything was consensual, I guess, but this is so extremely out of character for me, and I have never done such things, and ever since I'm kind of traumatized by it. I know everything was on Snap, and I would, in theory, know if he has taken pics or recorded, but I can't quite seem to get it out of my head that he somehow recorded everything, or has pictures of my most intimate parts I've never shown anyone, ever. Again, I was careful and never showed my face in the same frame as my intimate areas, but who knows? When I came out of that state, I immediately blocked him on everything, and he lives far away from me, so it's not like we're going to bump into each other or anything. But I'm still paranoid about it even to this day. Like, what if my images are on the dark web or something? Extreme, I know, but you never know. What if he has a CP on his devices? What if he's shown my body to other people? I don't know. It just makes me feel sick to my stomach. I know, all things considered, he's just a stranger I had like a week-long thing with, but I'm still scared and disgusted in myself for even doing it in the first place. What happens if he did somehow film / take pics and the pics or videos ever get out? And God knows what else I did in this state. I don't remember anything as bad as this, but who knows? Anyways, I thought I would post it here as it's one of the days I've started to spiral thinking about it again. Thanks for reading. Yeah, I feel for her. I mean, so I'm older. I was not a teenager during the pandemic. I was old, okay? And but when I was a teenager, it was kind of like, I'm a millennial, right? So I grew up as a teenager in the era of social media on the rise, you know what I mean? Like, Instagram didn't exist when I was in high school. Facebook was on the come up, so like people were exchanging nudes in a crazy way, and I personally was terrified of doing it, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I did do it, and I've had some of the same concerns that this girl had because I was underage. Obviously I was sending it to like people who were also underage, so point being, I think, not too much on me, you guys, okay, don't judge me, but I think a lot of us, especially millennials and younger, have experienced something like this, or may or may not have some explicit content out on the internet, like, not on the internet, but like out there in the world, and you have no idea what anybody's gonna do with it. And I just feel like it's such a common thing now that I don't want to say it's not the end of the world, but it's really not. Like, I understand that is such a devastating thing to happen for things like that to get leaked, but it's really not the end of the world. Like, we can move on. You know how many people's stuff has gotten leaked, and life goes on. Life goes on. I totally understand. It could definitely ruin your life, though. It could definitely ruin your life. Yeah, that's really scary. But like we said, she was underage. He was underage as well. I think it's been this long. We can just trust that this guy is not gonna like post it on a crazy forum and like, out her that way. And, maybe he did show his boys or whatever. That's a fear that I have too, but it is what it is. It's already done. You can't take it back. At least it was on Snapchat, so maybe it was like erased and he never got any screenshots of it. She would know if he got screenshots. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I don't think she's overreacting at all, but I think she can just, give herself some grace too. Let's read the comments. Dude, that's tough for real. I mean, we all do stuff when we're young we ain't proud of. Hindsight's 20/20 and all. Ain't no point stressing over what ifs though. Focus on the now, learn from the past, don't let it define you. It's important to share guys, we ain't alone in this ishy feelings territory. Be easy on yourself. Yeah. That is very true. Let's see what else. Not to invalidate you or anything, but compared to some of the unhinged, deranged things some people have been confessing on here, this is honestly nothing. You sent some nudes while you were underage to another teenager. Yeah, it's not great, but you never met him and you learned from your mistakes. I highly doubt he still has those videos saved. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody else said we all did dumb-ish as teens. The fact that you regret it this much shows you grew past it. That's the only proof you'll ever need that you're not that person anymore. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here today. Let me know your thoughts on all these confessions in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Check me out on all my socials, and I will see you